before we paint the body, we want to look it over real closely for any defects that it may have and any excess flash. And flash is leftover plastic from the molding process. And if you see right here, see that little tag of that tag of plastic right here? All right, that is flash. It's plastic that seeped out between the two halves of the mold. So I'm not going to use my tweezers to remove that. I'm actually going to use my hobby knife and just kind of run it along the edge of that and knock it off. And then what I'm going to do is come back in with a sanding stick, and we're just going to touch up that spot where it was attached, smooth it out. And there's a little spot on the other side there. Do the same thing with that one. All right. And then just look around the body. Okay, here's something else. I don't know how visible this will be on the camera, but there is a bit of a line right here, and that is a mold line from the process of molding this body. And it's just a little ridge, my fingernail catches on it, all right? And it's part of this fender molding, but this bottom edge where that little step is, that's not really part of it. They used that mold or that body trim molding as the parting line for these pieces of the body when they made the mold. So we're just gonna sand that down smooth, kind of get rid of the ridge that was there, and just on the bottom, because like I said, this fender molding, that is part of it. But we'll just knock off the edge right here at the bottom, clean it up all the way around. And there's one on this side as well. That one's just a little bit more pronounced, you can see. All right, so we'll sand that one off and clean up around these edges. All right, even though this side had that piece of plastic actually sticking out of it, this side has a couple of rough edges. We're just gonna smooth them out. No big deal. Smooth them out. That'll make our finished paint job look that much better. But go around the whole body, look for anything that doesn't quite look right. Like all these spaces, there shouldn't be any plastic sticking in there. There might be a little bit of an edge. Maybe a little quick swipe with the sanding stick will take care of that. The rest of this looks pretty good. I don't see any other real defects on mine. So, all right here on the edge of that wheel well. All right, this side looks pretty good. The front ones look good. There's a little bit right there. All right, that all looks pretty good. All right, now I've started painting some of the details that are going to be on the finished body. So we've got our grill, the radiator, some different grill pieces, the headlight lenses and buckets, and we've got some painting to do here as well. So I've already painted the radiator with our silver. I've done the outline of this grill piece with the silver. So there's the radiator, and here's that other piece with the outlined silver. All right, this one is just the flat black. And then here are our headlight buckets. And this is going to be tough, all right? This is not going to be an easy one to do, because if you look, so let's get the proper one here. Let's do, all right, so this one. All right, so if you look at the diagram over here, you've got this kind of half round, not quite half round area, and then all the side of it gets flat black. All right, so the front of it stays, and then it gets flat black. And then all around this dimpled area here, there's little indents, and those little indents are gonna get number 2, which is, that's just black. So one's flat black, just the sides of this thing, and then the dimples are black. All right, so starting with the pure black, and I'm going to do this side of this cone-shaped area here. So I'll paint both of those, and I'll come back and show you before we do the dimples. All right, there's both of them. So if you look at it head on, you don't really see much of that black, right? That's how the diagram is getting that little kind of crescent moon shape, is because you're looking at it from head on and you're not seeing the side of it like that. You're just seeing a portion of it. And I did get a little bit on the front of that, but if you look at the directions again, you'll see that the clear headlight lens, this MC4, that's actually one of these 2 metal pieces here. It's like a metal decal, and it gets put on the lens itself, which goes in front of that. So if you did get black on there, no big deal, because it's going to get covered up by that little piece of metal on the lens itself. So now I'm going to paint the dimples, and I'm using the black, the 71.057, just black. All right, so it's a little bit different, but not much. And you're going to want to use one of your smaller brushes. This is a 3/0. You see how pointed and tiny that brush is. All right, so we're gonna get a little bit of water on the tip of the brush, and then get a little paint. Not much. You don't want it to. You don't want to go outside of your points. And you know, this chrome is so reflective, it's very hard to see those dimples. So take your time, make sure you're looking at what you want to look at, and then just lightly touch the area where you want that paint. All right, and it'll kind of flow in there on its own, but you don't want a lot of paint on the tip of your brush. All right, can you see that? We're getting it in there. And there's one. Ooh, wow. Those things do go all the way around just about. And they're down in there, so you gotta really concentrate. So I'll be back when I get them done. I'll show you. All right, I'm gonna show you one of them done compared to the other one that's not done yet. So this one, oops, wow. They're hard to hold on to. Okay, so this one has all the little things blacked out, and you can see this one, it's not. So hopefully you can see that. You know, it's subtle, but it does make a big difference. I mean, if you compare this is shiny everywhere, and this has the little bit of black in it that helps tone down that shine just a little bit. All right, so I'll do the last one here. All right, so now we can assemble these headlight pieces. So we've got the headlight buckets, we've got the lenses, the 2 clear lenses, and then here we've got the parts labeled J8, and I already painted the back side of them silver. So the front side is still clear on both of these. All right, just the back side is painted silver, the back side and the divot in the back of it. All right, and then here we have the parts labeled J9, and they're really kind of a mushroom shape. All right, so there's a little tab on the back side like a stem. All right, and then the front side of it is kind of mushroom shaped. And what I did was I only painted the back side of it orange. And I kept that orange kind of thin, so there's a little bit of water in the brush. But it gives the effect that that whole lens now has an orange bulb. All right, and then we've got our two MC4 that's going to go onto our headlight lenses. All right, and what's it say? It does say to glue all of the parts. Yeah, everything gets a little bit of glue. So I'll assemble one and come back and show you. All right, there is one of them done. And I'll say that in the instruction sheet, they kind of tell you to put MC3 and MC4 on the glass part of the lens, the clear part. But if you do that, the adhesive side is towards your viewing angle, and the adhesive isn't shiny. So what I did was instead I actually put it onto the chromed part where we painted that black, the front of that black area where it's still chrome, stick it there. That way the side that doesn't have the adhesive shows and it's still shiny. All right, so that's something I did, just a slight difference from what the instructions are actually telling you to do. And when I glued these, I used my liquid cement, right? The jar, remember I gave you one, and I said mine's a little different. Same type of cement, just different manufacturer, different brand, but it works the same way. And brush most of that cement off on the side of the jar when you take the brush out, because you really don't want much. All right, so I added a little bit of the glue from the backside on the silver part, a little bit of glue on the backside where the orange light is, and then just touched the edge where the clear lens attaches to the silver bucket. All right, so that glue just stays right in that seam and doesn't flow anywhere else. That way our lens stays nice and clear. All right, so there's one done, and I'll finish up the other one. All right, two headlights finished. Now let's sandwich together our grill pieces. So you work from the back to the front at the top. There's two little pins, two little holes, all right, like that. And then this lower fascia grill piece, again, two little tabs, two little holes. Goes in there just like that. And then once we've got this together, then it'll go into the front of the car body. But we're just going to get it this far for now. We'll put it in the body later. All right, now that the chassis is done and we've started working on our headlights, we've still got tail lights to do. We've got windows to mask off because they get the black edging around them. And there's a lot of other little things that go on the exterior: windshield wipers, antennas, side mirrors, door handles, all those little things. But before we get into those, I want to get the body painted. Now, my kit came with two sets of decals, and the blue and red matches the box art, and the instructions actually follow this one as well. There is no mention of the gray and the black, but I like those. So I thought I would do something a little bit different. The color callouts here in the instructions call for the body to be an off-white color, but I didn't really want to go that route. So the body's off-white, the top of the car is a black, but I decided to do something just a little bit different. So what I did, I got some TS40 metallic black Tamiya spray can, and I shot that on my body. So that's how mine is going to be. And it's all over. I didn't do a separate top color and a different from the sides. So it's a metallic black, but really it looks more gray than black. But I'm fine with that because I think these decals are going to really look good on that. So before we do any of this other stuff, we're going to apply the decals to our car. All right. And then everything else would go on after the fact.